Welcome to RPG Book Club, a podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we are finishing our playthrough of Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals, covering up until we beat the whole dang game. But before we get to all of that, how was everyone's week?
My eyes still hurt. I don't have vision insurance. I hate this, but my eyes are good enough that I can play a video game. So I finally started playing Blueprints, and holy shit, Blueprints is so good. Sam talked about it.
It sounds insane.
A few weeks ago. It's insane. It's like this really crazy, weird, intricate puzzle game, but it's also just fun. It's extremely fun. It's not just sitting there pondering puzzles. It's really fun.
Yeah, the roguelike of it all, the roguelike part of it is mostly a maze game where it's like build your own maze to get to the spot on the map. And that is very fun every single time. While you're doing that, you're unlocking a whole bunch of cool like puzzles and secrets and stuff like that. And there's like several layers of game, but the most basic of just start my day, see what rooms I have, see how far I can go is just fun to do.
It's so much fun. And it's got me taking notes and being Charlie Day and the Pepe Sylvia meme, and I love it. It's so crazy.
Yeah. I am thinking about starting my notes over, like copying them from my physical book into Obsidian, because Obsidian I can cross-link like a wiki, because I'm getting to the part of the game where I need to start like remembering people's names. And I haven't written anything like that because I've just been writing like environment puzzles. But now I'm like, okay, now I need to know who actually Herbert Sinclair is and what's going on with all of that. And I'm like, I think I'm unequipped for the level of notes I'm going to need to continue in the back half of the game.
I mean, I should hope you can at least remember Herbert Sinclair.
Yeah, I picked his name because it's not a spoiler.
Yeah. Herbert Sinclair is the main guy. He's the guy who leaves you his estate.
Yeah, his name is one of the first words in the game.
It's so good and wild, and just it keeps getting bigger and more wild.
Mm-hmm. And like one thing I haven't heard a lot of people mention before. Like a lot of people talk about the roguelike part of it, and they talk about the crazy ass meta puzzle part of it, but also its individual mist-like puzzles are so good and such good little brain teasers, like the one in the pump room I love.
I hate the pump room.
The boiler room is
I hate the boiler room.
And there are some
billiard
common
room
puzzles.
I'm fine with because I'm good at simple mental math. I'm really good at simple mental math, so I'm fine with the billiard room.
I've done the billiard room enough times that they're starting to change the order of colors, which is very cool.
Oh no!
So it's not just in to out, because like at first when people were like, oh, there needs to be colorblind options in this game, which there do. But I was like, it's okay because the colors are always in the same spots. You could just think of it as 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to think of it as color. But I got to one where the colors are now in a different spot, and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to actually remember what the colors are instead of just doing it in 1, 2, 3, 4 order. And it's pretty cool. I really freaking like that game. I wish that I hadn't shown it to Scarlett, because Scarlett will not let me play it without her now. And I want to put 160 hours into this game. And Scarlett has maybe an hour of Blueprints a day, tops. So my partner saw me and Scarlett playing on day 28 is where me and Scarlett were. They went home and they bought the game that night, and they have rolled credits and are now working on the like meta puzzle second half of it. And
oh gosh.
They lapped me real hard. So I want to play more.
It's good. I have gotten to a few brain teaser puzzles where I'm like, I know my brain. I'm looking at this. Like let's just say the middle part of the utility box. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I look at puzzles like that and I'm like, I know my brain does not wrap around puzzles like this. It would take me so long and I would be so miserable the whole time. I am gonna look up the solution for this puzzle.
For that one in particular,
I found all the hints first, but I just knew like the way the buttons work and everything. I just knew it would be a miserable experience.
One of the hints that you find, I only found it yesterday. I'm on like day like 50 something now. That hint is how to solve it. It just tells you the buttons to press.
Oh,
yeah. So they do that a lot. Like the billiard room that we were mentioning, the colors and all of that stuff.
Yeah, there's several places they give you that information.
You can get it like right at the beginning if you're snooping for details, but also it's kind of just written on one of the walls after you get a certain set of rooms, and it's they do a lot too. If you're taking notes, you will probably not get stumped. But yeah, I wouldn't blame you for looking up those. When I noticed it worked kind of like Lights Out, I'm like, I can't do Lights Out puzzles for the life of me. My brain just won't do it. So I was prepared to give up, and then I found the how to win.
Let's stop talking about blueprints.
Yeah.
Are you sure? You can keep going.
And, besides blueprints, I also finally played Katamari Damacy.
My god, I love Katamari.
So
I've always wanted to play it. I still haven't.
So the new one just came out for Apple Arcade, and it rules. Now that I've played a little bit of We Love Katamari. It's We Love Katamari, but with a Twitch streamer flair, and it's really good. But the my knockoff Backbone controller is a cheap knockoff. I got it for like $20 on AliExpress a bajillion years ago, and so the ergonomics are worse than garbage. And so, and the sticks are also in Xbox position, which makes Katamari awkward to play. So I was like, okay, I want to pause on this one because it's also really hard. Its levels have like 3 stars, and I've only gotten like 1 star on every level. It's really, really hard, and you get the 1 star for just finishing, not even for hitting a goal or whatever. You just have to beat the level. And so I was like, I want to play one of the original ones, and so I was looking at like, should I emulate it? Should I get the PSP and the Vita ones for my Vita? Like, how should I go about doing it? And then the PSN has a 2,500 games under $20 sale, and not only do I now own every single Resident Evil, I also picked up both of the Katamari remakes for $5 a piece. And so then I sat down and I played through Katamari Damacy, and the first one is such a good proof of concept, and I'm glad that they came out with We Love Katamari, because We Love Katamari makes it into a better video game. But Katamari Damacy only has 3 levels, and you spend half the game in the 3rd level, and that gets kind of boring really quickly. But yeah, I still rather enjoyed it. And the final thing where you basically get to roll up literally every object on the world, that was very satisfying, and I liked it a lot.
I love Katamari Damacy so much. It's one of my favorite games. I am weird. It's like my preference for Pikmin over Pikmin 2. I prefer Katamari Damacy to We Love Katamari just for weird personal reasons, but I love Katamari so much.
Yeah, I am now a weirdo. I also, in a feels like a character flaw, seeing as how I host a podcast about video game stories. I just can't care enough about all of the things the King of All Cosmos is doing, and I feel like I would enjoy these, but I love the gameplay so much that I don't care, and I just want to roll a Katamari, and so I've been skipping cutscenes in a game I haven't played before.
No, the writing is so good.
It is very good. I have like spot checked it, and I'm like, this is good stuff. I would enjoy this, but right now I want to not have to read, and I want to roll up a Katamari. and it has been.
Most of the time, I just want to roll up a Katamari too.
Who doesn't?
True. What about you, Trish? How was your week?
My week has been all right. I've been doing a lot of writing. I've gotten back to both Persona 4 Golden and to Fire Emblem Fates. I might have that one open literally right now as we podcast. You can't prove anything. Bigger thing is, I finally fun fact, I don't know if I've ever mentioned on this podcast. I can't drive. I mean, I can physically, but I don't have a license. I did go all through the effort of learning, back in like 2019, in my late 20s. I was like, all right, I've been pressured. I'll learn how to drive. And I was ready. I had a time for my test. I was fairly confident on it. And then COVID-19 happened. And the DMV canceled all appointments for driving tests. So I didn't do it then, and then the whole pandemic happened, and I kind of forgotten everything I learned probably at this point. And I am honestly, like, while there is an element of, like, I'd like to learn just so I could be helpful to the household in occasionally being able to drive other people, on the closest thing, I guess I don't believe in spiritual, but, on some intrinsic DNA level for me, I don't like cars. I'm fine being in them, but I don't think human beings should be behind the wheel of several ton metal machines that can kill their drivers, passengers, and other people if the human behind the wheel does something wrong. Self-driving cars also fucking suck. I'm saying we need... I prefer buses or preferably trains. So I have traditionally used a lot of buses and trains. I love public transport. I wish it was better. It needs to be better, but I still like it. So recently, when I, as part of HRT, as part of hormone therapy, every so often you have to do blood tests. For me, it's gone down, but I still have to do it every so often. And my wife was busy this week, so I was like, I'll just bus. So I bussed over to the nearby city of Worcester so I could go to the nearest Quest Diagnostic and do all of that. And what was probably been like an hour-ish total there and back, driving was about a 4-hour, 5-ish hour thing with the bus schedules, but it was still fun. I feel like you get a little bit more in touch with your city that way, and getting to meet people. And my favorite bit of it was on the way back. I was wearing, I've been a little afraid to for most of this year for obvious reasons. I have a mask. I still mask people. Please mask journaling whenever you can, whenever you feel like you're able to on crowded indoor spaces, especially. I have a trans pride mask, but I haven't felt safe wearing it for a lot of this year. But I've, especially around Worcester, felt like I can wear this again. You know, I feel okay wearing this, and I'm glad I did. Because someone stopped me at the bus stop, complimented my mask. We had a fun conversation, met a fellow gender fluid person. We had a lovely little conversation. They were very envious of my height, and I was very envious of their shortness. It was lovely. So that's probably the highlight of my week.
You know what the highlight of my week was? Playing Blue Prince, but I also played Lufia too.
All right, so let's listen to some music, and then we'll see what happens at the end of this game.
So, Trish played through the rest of the game. Then I played through the rest of the game, and I was like, yeah, we're doing this in one episode. Turns out my notes are twice as long as the past few episodes. A lot actually happens. It just doesn't feel like as much because there's only one dungeon with puzzles in it, if I remember correctly.
In terms of gameplay time,
there's
about as
two.
long. It's about as long as our other things have been. It's just that so much of the gameplay isn't dungeoning, it's actual stuff happening.
Yeah, there is the volcano dungeon, which is very big, and then there's the castle dungeon, which is not very big, and it, like, the end of the game is very breezy, so.
Yeah.
Having just seen a mysterious scene with Iris, which I misinterpreted, but we'll get to that later, the party heads to the village of Chade. Why do they head to the village of Chade? I don't know. There's probably an NPC somewhere who mentions it offhand, and the party just decides, yeah, we'll go there. Why not? Someone said the name of a town, so we might as well go to that town. I didn't find any direction to go there in-game, but I looked at a walkthrough and it said go to Chade, so I went to Chade. When we get there, the townsfolk say the nearby volcano is on the verge of erupting because of the dragon that lives there. So that's bad. The village elder went there to try and stop the dragon. It sounds like he'll need our help, and besides, what JRPG party worth its salt would pass up a volcano dungeon? We head to the volcano and, as always, do a bunch of puzzles, and this dungeon is huge and it rules. In the depths of the volcano, we find an old man in a cave, just like old times. He's like, hey, you kids better get out of here. I'm on a dragon quest. And we're like, bro, we're the dragon warriors here. Before the village elder can...
Amazing. No, Bernard, you don't get to keep going. That was great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Before the village elder can insist he's totally capable of killing a dragon on his own, the dragon appears. We kill it dead with no help from the elder. After the fight, the elder says he can sense our energy waves, and he can tell we're the heroes fighting against the Sinistrals. He says we should go to Primarl, but first, we need to go to his house in Chade. And when we get there, the elder says he needs to talk to us about the Dual Blade. And I realized, in the game text, it's not the Dual Blade, it's just Dual Blade. I don't know why I add the in there every time, but I think it sounds better, and it's already in my notes. So I'm gonna say the every time. The elder says the Queen of Primarl knows where the Dual Blade is. But Primarl is an undersea city of mermaids. The party is like, okay. The elder gives us a jade, which will open the door to Primarl, and the door is there so that we can't go to Primarl early. We decide to believe the old man's mermaid story and head that way. Sure enough, we find an undersea gate which opens in response to the jade. And on the other side, sure enough, there's a city of mermaids. We disembark, and I'm not sure what exactly is going on here breathing-wise. The graphics look like the water is just going up to your waist, and the mermaids are like balancing on their tails, sticking their torsos out of the water, and I'm like, okay. The mermaids are quite surprised to see humans, but we breeze right past them and go talk to their queen right away. We explain to Queen Marla how we got here, and she seems to know the Elder and Chade. Maxim asks about the Dual Blade, and Marla, just like the Elder, guesses we're the heroes fighting against the Sinistrals because of our energy. She says the Dual Blade rests in an underwater shrine of unknown origin and purpose. We're like, cool, let's go there. But immediately, a mermaid rushes in to report that the currents around the shrine have changed, making it extremely dangerous to go near. Also, Princess Piara is missing, and she loved swimming in that area around the mysterious, scary shrine. So she might have been... ... Marla declines to have a search party sent for her daughter due to the dangers of the current and the ghost ship that apparently appears around there. Princess Piara likes to go swimming in ghost ship land, apparently.
Apparently.
But Marla exits abruptly, and Salon says she's probably going after Piara herself. We have to go after her. When we arrive, the currents suck our ship into a cave, and we find ourselves stranded. But Marla and Piara are there, so we found them, and now we're stranded too. Then the ghost ship appears. We fight the ghost ship, and I love to have a JRPG boss that's just a vehicle. We kill the ghost ship Double Ghost dead, and the currents die down. So apparently the ghost ship was causing the currents. Okay. A search party arrives and says they couldn't let Marla go alone and stuff. But then the current gets all crazy again. All the mermaids get sucked deeper into the cave. We hop back in our boat and follow, arriving outside the shrine. The mermaids are okay, but the party senses a terrible sinistrally energy. The mermaids from the search party approach the shrine, but they get zapped dead by evil sinistral magic. A voice says that only the chosen may approach. Maxim says the party must be the ones to go inside, as they are the ones with the power to fight the Sinistrals. But Piara asks a pretty good question. The Sinistrals are gods, and all life comes from the gods, so the power of Maxim and the Dual Blade must come from the gods, so why would the gods create a power that could destroy them? And we're like, I don't know, let's head for the shrine. We find the Dual Blade. It rings when Maxim approaches it. A voice says it can scarcely believe what Sir Arik had said is true, that a human can make the Dual Blade ring. Daus, the god of terror and leader of the Sinistrals, appears. Maxim asks why the Sinistrals are trying to take over the world, and Daus says it's because the world tree in his world died and he needs to obtain a mana seed in order to... Wait, that's a different Daus. This Daus says it's because of the Fuel Blade. It belongs to the gods, but it has begun to ring for a human. A human who has the power to fight against them, and they cannot allow that. The strong were meant to rule this world, so the Sinistrals must rule. Maxim has heard enough and steps forward to take the Dual Blade, but it disappears. Daus says Maxim is unworthy of wielding the Dual Blade, and thus is no threat. Daus warps the party back to Chade. Before the party can get their bearings, the shadow of a floating island falls over the village. From it, the voice of Daus declares that he is Daus, Master of Terror, leader of the 4 Sinistrals. You who are too accustomed to peace have forgotten the faith. Now taste real terror.
I thought he was going to say he is Magneto, Master of Magnet.
Is that something Magneto says?
In an X-Men arcade game, yeah.
Magneto, Master of Magnet?
Magnet singular.
Nice. I love it. Beams shoot from the island and destroy Chade. The party survives, and Daus taunts them, saying that if they have something to say to him, they must come to the island. But the island is in the sky! With nothing else to go on, we head back to Portravia to see Lexus, because he's our best bet for getting some sort of flying machine. When we arrive, Lexus guesses we're here about the floating island, which he has dubbed Doom Island. He says he can turn Excellion into an airship, but he'll need a more powerful engine. It would take him ages to develop one, so they need to get one another way. So it's time for a completely unnecessary side plot that doesn't really have anything to do with anything. There's an isolated kingdom called Gratz, which has advanced military technology, and the engine from one of their tanks would work. Also, like, they're trying to take over the world, or they're going to at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
The party's like, well, guess we're stealing the engine. Salon's like, stealing is bad, but the others are like, stealing military stuff from people who are going to use it to try and take over the world is probably a good thing, actually. We remember hearing about Gratz during the Ruby Angel saga, so we go to Dankirk and go all the way through the North Dungeon again and find that the bridge that the Gratz guy escaped over is out, so we have to access the dungeon from underwater in our submarine. This is annoying if you don't see a walkthrough first and realize, oh, you don't need to go through the whole dungeon again. The passage at the end of the dungeon leads directly into Gratz Castle. We're immediately arrested for breaking into the castle. The guards cast Drowsy on us and toss us in a jail cell, apparently without taking our weapons away while we're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
With us in the cell are none other than Bertie and Bart, those wacky thieves from way back. There is a bunch of nonsense with them that I am going to skip over. But
it's very fun, though.
Yes, but the only important part is that they pick the cell door's lock so we can make our escape.
The I don't know if it was in the original game or if it's just the changed script we have from the ROM hack we're using, but the thick Cockney fucking accents they give them are so good.
Yes, they talk weird in the original game too.
Okay, good.
After fighting some guards and going through a dungeon under the castle, we find ourselves face to face with that guy who ordered the other guy to steal the Ruby Angel, and he's got a tank! We ask if we can have the engine from the tank, and he says no. He sicks some guards on us, and we kill them dead, then he sicks the tank on us. After we beat up the tank, we grab the engine and put it in our pocket. The bad guy runs off and sets the castle to self-destruct in order to take us out. We cast warp and leave.
This game is so good.
We take the engine to Lexus, who remodels Excellion into an airship, just like you said. A researcher reports that Doom Island has stopped near the isolated village of Narvik, which is surrounded by mountains and inaccessible by normal means. Also, there's crazy wind around Doom Island now, so we can't really fly directly there. But also there's a ringing coming from one of the 3 towers near Narvik, and we should probably go check that out. And if I recall correctly, in this scene, they're like, whoa, do you hear that ringing sound? It's coming from the area of Narvik. And I'm like, if you can hear it from over here, how fucking loud is it? How has the village not been destroyed by the sound waves? We fly to Narvik and find that the people of this village live lives devoted to the gods, but they're confused and scared by the evil gods which have appeared. Where are the good gods? And it's at this point in the game, the localization really starts to fall apart if it insists on calling gods super beings.
Where are the good super beings? We all know they should exist.
Yes, we live lives devoted to the super beings. We go speak with the village elder, as you do in a JRPG town, and as soon as Maxim introduces himself, the elder calls over 3 identical young women named Lisa, Marie, and Claire. They sense Maxim's energy flow and say he might be able to break the seal of the Sinistrals. Or is it the seal of the gods? I forget what the seal is of. But Maxim's like, what's the seal? And the elder explains that generations ago, the gods gave the people of this village armor, a helmet, and a shield. The gods sealed each piece at the top of one of the nearby towers. With the island parked above, Daus and his henchmen must be after those items. But Daus cannot have broken the seals, because you need to be worthy and have these young women with you to do so, because they inherited the ability to break the seals. Lisa steps forward and asks us to take her to the first tower. We head to the first tower. The towers don't have puzzles, just elaborate layouts. So it's sort of a throwback to Lufia 1. The outside
also,
areas...
they're gorgeous.
Yes, except the outside areas have a really fast cloud scrolling layer, which I hated.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it looked great.
It hurt my eyes.
Okay, that's fair. Your eyes... That's valuable. That's fair.
When we reach the top of the first tower, Gades appears, but we killed him dead, so we're like, what the fuck? He says that with Aram's arrival on the island, he has been revived. He says the time has come for the Sinistrals to rule the world, and we fight. We defeat Gades, and he disappears. Lisa and Maxim break the seal on the divine armor. Lisa says if she stays here, the tower will keep resonating, and if all the towers resonate at once, they might be able to stop the turbulence around Doom Island. We go back to the Elder's house, fetch Marie, and go to the second tower. At the top, Eamon appears. He attacks after just one dialogue box. But we defeat him, and he disappears. Marie and Maxim break the seal on the divine helmet. Marie stays at the top of the tower. We go get Claire. We head to the third tower. At the top, no one appears. Claire and Maxim break the seal on the divine shield. But then Daus appears. He says that now that we've broken the seals, he just has to kill us and the divine stuff will be his. He says it's perfect for one who can wield the dual blade, and that's Daus. The dual blade appears and Daus blasts the party with energy. But Maxim stands. He approaches Daus. Daus starts shooting energy shit. Maxim starts shooting energy shit back at him. And the dual blade floats over to Maxim. It shows Maxim as his rightful owner. Huzzah! I don't know what changed that now Maxim can be its rightful owner, but it did.
He energied better. He learned how to do better energy.
Oh yeah,
He
that makes sense.
really wanted it and had the power of energy. Daus, enraged, disappears. Claire says that she can combine her power with the other girls to hold Doom Island in place so we can reach it. We see Eamon report this to Daus in his throne room. He also says he attacked our ship to stop it from flying. He apparently didn't actually destroy it, but it won't fly anymore. And he's prepared something to stop us from repairing it anyway. So, fun fact, the game does not automatically equip Dual Blade to Maxim, even though you might feel like it does and go for a while without equipping it to him. Because it takes a bit for you to think, oh, I should check that I actually have it equipped. The party warps to Petravia. Lexus says he'll repair Excellion while we rest. Maxim pulls Salon aside. He starts to ask her to stay behind for her safety, but she cuts him off. She says she's going with him no matter what. They're going together, and they're returning home to Jaros together.
And I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
It'll be fine. We see Guy and Artea eavesdropping. They talk about Guy's girlfriend, so easily forgotten. Guy decides to have a party with everyone at his place after they defeat the Sinistrals. The party returns to Lexus, who has just finished repairing Excellion, but a researcher rushes in and reports that the town is crawling with jerks. There's too many monsters for us to get out of town, and the seal on Doom Island is weakening, and prom's tomorrow. But then... who else but Dakar arrives? He's riding on a whale. He says he'll take care of the monsters while we go after the Sinistrals. How did Dakar survive? Don't worry about it.
He survived the same way all those characters in Final Fantasy IV survived.
He's strong, okay? He can survive anything. So Dakar starts owning monsters, and the party takes off in Excellion and flies towards Doom Island. But Doom Island shoots beams at the ship. I almost wrote shoots beams of energy at the ship, but then I was like, no, energy is like something specific. I don't know what, but it's something specific. So I probably shouldn't say beams of energy, because this might not be energy. This might be something else. Doom Island shoots beams at the ship. It takes out the dirigible balloon thing, but then a glider pops out of the ship, and we manage to glide onto Doom Island, though it's a crash landing. The party finds themselves in the Fortress of Doom. We finally reach the beginning of the first game, and it feels cool.
It rocks.
Doing these as a long cast is extra cool because we started here and now we're finishing here.
Yeah.
It's really good.
There are differences, though. For one thing, there are no monsters to fight in the dungeon area this time. Also, in Lufia 1's prologue, the heroes just fought all 4 Sinistrals in Dals's throne room, though they did take turns. Here, they fight them one by one on their way through the fortress. First Gades, then Aemon, then, after crossing the glass bridge to reach the warp to Dals's throne room, the mysterious figure we saw reflected in the Tower of Truth appears. It's Aram! And last week, I called the figure Auric, because Iris seemed to address it as Auric, and I knew Auric appeared as a giant sprite in the attract mode, but I figured he had an anime pretty boy form too. But no, that was an anime pretty girl, and it's Iris's true form, Aram. She introduces herself as the Mistress of Death, and says as long as she lives, so too will the rest of the Sinistrals. We fight! After we defeat her, she asks Maxim why he fights. For love, of course. He has to fight and protect the future for Salon. He does not mention protecting the future for his child Jaros, which is a little weird. You'd think that would also be on his mind. But Aram scoffs at human love and warps away. The party reaches Dals's throne room. Dals asks why they fight when many worship gods such as him. Maxim says no one would worship such evil Sinistrals. Dals says there are 2 ways of looking at things. Some believe in love and happiness, others in destruction and chaos. They cannot stand apart. Maxim asks why then only evil gods have appeared. What about those who believe in good? Dals says it was so ordained by Auric the Absolute, the one who stands above all. So, last week I called Auric the leader of the Sinistrals, but that's not really it. The leader of the Sinistrals is decidedly Dals, but Auric is like an ultimate god who's above all the other gods, and there are good gods and evil gods. So I think that clears everything up.
Yeah, no, the mythology here is a little unclear or hazy.
And I like it that way.
I mean, same. It's neat to just be like, just offhand. Oh no! By the way, there's this supreme god who's ahead of everybody, and he's the one who sent us here. No, he's never going to show up. This is all you're going to get.
He appeared exclusively in the attract mode that you probably skipped.
Mm-hmm.
So we fight Dals and kick his ass. This is the final boss, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't even have unique music. I know from the first game that Dals is the last fight for our heroes, but I was kind of expecting some sort of twist, even if it's just a fake final boss, like in Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy X or any number of other JRPGs where you have a fake final boss. Y'all know what I mean when I say fake final boss.
Yeah.
Anyway, we defeat Dals, and he summons the other Sinistrals so they can combine their energies to destroy the world, as we remember from the first game. The party combines their energy and uses it to destroy the Sinistrals, but, of course, Salon is fatally wounded in the blast. Salon tells Maxim she wishes she could go back with him and hold their son again. The island starts quaking, and Guy and Artea are separated from Maxim and Salon by the bridge collapsing. Artea has to warp himself and Guy out without Maxim and Salon. Maxim tells Salon there will be a new era of peace now, even though they won't get to see it. He says he loves her, and he always will. Then, what we didn't see in the first game, the shaking stops. The form of Dals appears, and says that even though he lost, he still has this island, and in a final act of terror, he's going to fly it to Parcelite and drop it on the city. And I feel like I should say that's where Jaros is, just in case you forgot. I remembered, but maybe someone else forgot.
I remember
everything.
Such an incredible memory on you, man.
Dals disappears. Then Iris appears before Maxim, but he can tell from her energy that she's actually Aram. Maxim asks why she helped him all those times if she's his enemy. Aram says this was a battle of judgment for her and her kind. That Maxim exists and resonates with the dual blade means that people act apart from the Sinistrals. The purpose of the dual blade is to defeat the Sinistrals. Defeat them, and you need them not. Maxim asks if that means humans don't need gods anymore. Aram says no, humans still need faith. Arik thought the dual blade wouldn't ring for at least 1,000 years, but the dual blade began to ring, so she came to Maxim to see everything through to the end. In the original script, at least, I forget if this is changed in the updated script, but in the original script, at least, she says, I came through to see everything, the end, which sounds very funny. She doesn't say see everything to the end or in the end. She just says see everything, comma, the end. Like, yeah, I'm done talking to you. But she helped him more than she should have for reasons she cannot explain. Maxim asks if there's a way to stop Doom Island from falling on Parcelite. Aram says yes, but as the mistress of death, she cannot tell him and thus save all those lives. But Maxim says she has appeared now in the form of Iris, not Aram. The Iris he knows helped him and would wish well for all those who perished. It was because of her he went on this whole dang JRPG quest. Iris says her energy is fading. Maxim pleads with her to tell him how to stop Doom Island, and she says there are 3 mystic stones that control the island. If Maxim destroys them, the course will be altered. But it takes powerful energy to destroy the stones, and doing so may cost Maxim his life. She says with her final breath that she will open the way to the mystic stones, and that she will be watching from afar to see whether or not humans have the power to build their own future. We take control of Maxim as some badass music plays, and we navigate some simple mazes to find the stones. Maxim does energy shit to destroy the first 2, but when he reaches the 3rd, he doesn't have the strength to destroy it with his own energy. But then the dual blade floats up, and Maxim realizes he can combine the last of his energy with the dual blade, so he does that. The final stone is destroyed, and Parcelite is saved. The form of Salon appears before Maxim. She says they should go home to their son. Maxim says yes, let's do that. They fade into points of light which fly out of the Fortress of Doom. We see Doom Island shift course and start falling towards the open ocean. The points of light fly across the sky. We see Artea return to Milka. Artea asks if she wants to come with him to the post-battle celebration. He says this is a victory for peace for all people. We see Guy return home to Hilda and Jesse. Jesse chews him out for making her worry. Hilda asks what happened to Maxim and Salon. Guy says they're having a party and everyone's coming. Maxim, Salon, Artea, Dakar, Lexus. We see Dakar talking with some guy about how it seems Maxim saved the world, and Dakar says Maxim is the 2nd greatest warrior in the world, next to himself, of course. We see a researcher report to Lexus that Doom Island is on a new course, heading beyond the strait to Westland, in the sea northwest of the village of Ulst. I meant to check if that is the same name as the starting village in the first game. I think it is, but I felt like it might have been localized differently, but then I realized if it were localized differently, it probably would have been Ars, and I don't think it was Ars.
In the LP archive that I'm doing, they say that it's a typo and it should be Arus, Arus. So,
which I think was the one in the first game.
Okay. I just figured it wasn't Ars, A-R-S-E, because I think I would remember that.
Yeah.
We would still be making bits about a town called Ars.
A Town Called Ars is my favorite musical.
We couldn't be arsed to do any better.
Lexus says he'll have to go to Westland himself, and Kermo is like, what about the party? And Lexus is like, how'd you know about that? And Kermo is like, I know everything. Now we see Tia standing outside her shop in El Cid. Her friend walks out and asks what's wrong. She notices Tia is crying. Tia realizes she is, in fact, crying, but she hasn't cried in so long. She doesn't know why she's crying, but her tears just won't stop. Her friend says she should cry when she wants to. Don't worry about it. Just cry. When you feel sad or in pain, you should cry out everything, and the next day will be better. The points of light continue soaring through the sky and pass over Parcelite. We see Jaros with his great aunt. I think it was his great aunt. I'm pretty sure it was like Salon's aunt.
Yeah, I think so.
Jaros starts to babble, and she tells him his mother and father will be back soon. They saved the world, and they're coming back home. The points of light circle Parcelite, then float into the sky. The end. And actually, in the long play I watched, it turns out there's a scene after the end screen. You just have to wait a really fucking long time for it.
Wait, really?
Don't worry, it's just the dialogue from when Totinos and Lufia first met as children in the first game, and then a screen comes up that says "To be continued, Lufia 1." But when the scene started, I was like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, it's just the beginning of the first game.
That's still sweet. I like that. So.
Yes. Now the end.
So, I fucking cried. And I didn't expect to. I honestly, when it happened, I felt like there's that meme that goes around some circles of getting queer baited by Genshin Impact is like losing chess to a dog, and that's how I felt about crying at Lufia 2. But god damn it! Like, there is something to just, like, getting more than you did at the start of the first game with the end to these characters, and then them going, like, it not just being like, oh, let's go see, you know, what all the other people we've met this game are doing. It's like, no, they're, like, before they pass on or whatever, their spirits checking in on them, and all of them not being aware yet that they're dead, and being like, oh, no, they're fine, they're gonna show up at the party later. And just, like, I don't know, it just hit me really hard, just like, god damn, it's gonna take a while for any of them to notice that these two died.
And then
it's sad.
The scene with Tia is so sweet. I love that she came back for a final scene. I was worried that she wasn't, and the game was just gonna sweep her under the rug, but she does come back, and she has a little resolution to her weird relationship with crying, and it's so good.
It's so good, and also she has the whole scene with just, I think the girl who was watching her shop, who we don't know anything about, and part of me was just like, oh, that's, she's moving on, this is her new partner.
Yeah, I don't think we have a name for that character, so I had to just call her friend. They're such good friends.
They're such good friends.
I really like how vague and weird the world building is. I like that there's lots of space to infer and expand and wonder. I like that everything isn't just spelled out. I like that it's like, it's not until the end that it's like, oh no, these are not the only gods that we're dealing with. There are also good gods and possibly other bad gods, and we don't know what their deal is. And I don't know if we find out in the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games. I'm guessing probably not.
Yeah, I really enjoy that too. I've always been a big proponent of, I feel like a lot of creative types get into the mindset of, like, making the most tightly wound story possible where there is no stray edges off the map. And while I can understand the appeal of that sort of thing, I've always preferred world building that is much more here there be dragons off the map. Like, no, there are parts of this world that exist outside of this story, and we are gonna nudge at them and make some vague references to them, but what are they? We don't know and you don't know. I mean, that was really nice to get out of this game.
And as loath as I am to reference it, Harry Potter proves that sometimes it's better not to know what's out there.
Yeah.
Because you find out what's out there and it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One wizarding school for all of Southeast Asia, and I think also South Asia, and just a lot of people in that one school. Anyway, sorry.
A small little thing that I really liked. So we put a tank in our pocket, right? In the dungeon, there's an NPC that's been imprisoned because they say, and I quote, "We thought that we could steal the tank, but it was too heavy for us." As in, everybody's idea is to just put this tank in their pocket.
Luckily, Maxim is real strong. I just love how you can transport anything in a 2D RPG. It doesn't matter. And also, you can turn a boat into a submarine in the space of like a 20-second animation.
Yeah. All it needs is a good engine, apparently. Change the engine, it's watertight. In the updated translation, does Douse call the party the little hoochies?
What?
Yeah,
I also don't remember that from the long play I watched, which is the original translation.
But here it is. Let me toss it in. You little hoochies.
Could that be a Photoshop?
I don't think so. Because the person then laughs like crazy about the translation of this game.
I
in another long play.
Lufia 2 long play. I am fact checking this live because I'm not willing to accept that. Just a second. Okay, here it is. Lufia and the Fortress of Doom long play, part 2 of 2. Oh no, this is Lufia and the Fortress of Doom long play. I need Lufia the Rise of the Sinistrals long play. I know what happens in Lufia 1.
Yeah, you little hoochies.
I don't believe you. What the fuck is with this long play?
You little hoochies.
Did you find it?
Yeah.
It's in there?
It's in there.
I guess I missed it when I was going through the long play. Captions look like this.
Yeah, I bumped the caption button when I was going to the print screen button.
You little hoochie? What?
You little hoochies.
I know that the long play I was watching was not the version we use because it did say super beings. And I'm glad that I found out that the original translation says super beings because that's very funny. But also,
they're super beings. They're super being.
The long play I watched also started to have a ton of graphical glitches at the very end. So maybe they were doing some sort of ROM hack or something.
The LP archive also has a bunch of graphical glitches at the end. I think it's just not. It didn't QA all the way to the end of the game back in the days of the Super Nintendo.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
These were some severe graphical glitches.
The ones in the long play were just like hex boxes being garbled, and when they get to Grant's Kingdom, it's called '3Y Kingdom.
In the long play, those happened, and also in the Underwater Shrine where we first find the dual blade, everything was all fucked up. And also when we were talking to Iris the final time, her sprite kept disappearing.
Maybe they had cheat codes in, because some of the cheat codes I use fuck with things like that. So
some of the cheat codes you use fuck.
Yeah.
That's how you get more cheat codes.
Yeah, I paid extra.
This game is cool.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to have finally played it 20 years after my cousin gave me a Super Nintendo and a copy of it, and the entire game facts printed out on paper.
Nice. Oh, printing out game facts. I used to have a binder filled with every single game fact for Final Fantasy Tactics.
Nice. You gotta print it out so that you can't control F.
Yeah, it makes it better. Yeah, I love this game a whole lot.
Same.
And I am going to continue beating it because the dungeons are that good. So I will skip through all the cutscenes because now I've read them all. But I will keep going and playing the dungeons because I like it a lot. Most of the time when I end up having to do a let's play to finish out a game, I'm like, oh, I like this a lot. I'll get around to it. And then I go to get around to it. I'm like, I already know this. But I'm like, I saw the hookshot dungeon from last week. And I'm like, I got to do that. That looks dope. I gotta play that.
Also, I just realized one mem that we haven't really talked about is the Ancient Cave, which I actually did for a little bit. Because Ancient Cave is like JRPG history.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't returned to it since I did my first run of it, and we talked about it a bit when we first unlocked it. But yeah, it rules.
It's really fun. I was a little worried going in, like conceptually, I'm like, this is neat, I guess, but also who knows how this will play out. And the answer was, it plays out really well. It's It's very fun. It really makes me think of doing a randomizer now of various different games. Like, it really feels like doing a randomizer, which is delightful. Like, someone hit that sort of itch years and years before people were able to just do that for themselves.
Oh, I was about to say that they had a couple of the big famous randomizers like had already come out for them to have copied the homework, but Sheer and the Wanderer, which is the second Mystery Dungeon game, is when they kind of formalized all the Mystery Dungeon parts, was not till December 1995. So yeah, they've had just Torneco and Rogue to go off of for previous roguelikes and NetHack, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but basically nothing, and they come up with a really, really good roguelike version of their JRPG.
Yeah, and I remember reading about how back in the day there were people who would make ancient cave versions of like Final Fantasy VI or other JRPGs on the Super Nintendo, and that's just, it's so cool to be like, this is what they're referencing when they do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was working on or I guess I still am technically working on a vertical slice of my RPG, my plan is the vertical slice is going to be the ancient cave. Like, why not? And it just be a little repeatable little demo thing, and it's really cool. Love that shit.
Lufia 2 is fucking great. I'm really glad we played it.
And I am definitely going to play the other two.
Yeah, I really want to play the next one. There's a ROM hack for the next one that makes it better, gives a better font, which also allows them to decrease the text box size, because the original text boxes are like more than half the screen, if I recall correctly.
Oh, guess what they changed? They change MP to in Lufia 3.
What?
Energy points?
Spiritual force. So basically energy points.
Nice. Shining force.
Shining force.
Yeah, this game has good energy.
It does. Yeah. Enough to even defeat evil gods.
It does. Yeah, I'm kind of in the spot where we were when we were trying to sum up Chrono Trigger, and it's just like, Chrono Trigger good. Lufia 2 good.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's where we get with every game.
Yeah, but some games,
except the bad ones.
Yeah, the bad ones have a much more interesting final thing where we can be like, man, I wish someone would make a RPG Maker remake of Septerra Core, because everything about it except for playing it rules.
Sometimes you love a game because it has very high ambitions and a wild high concept, and reaching for that is incredible, and the heights they reach are incredible, even if at times you get low lows. Lufia 2 is the opposite. Lufia 2 is a tight game. It knows what it's doing. It is doing a what if we did some Legend of Zelda puzzles with Dragon Quest gameplay, mixed with a couple other fun things. And it does that really well. It has a fun story. It is a delight to play, and it doesn't need to do more than that to be worth your time and energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the beginning of Lufia 1 just so that I could confirm what the differences are from the end of Lufia 2. And I was like, man, these menus suck. And these graphics are a lot dinkier. I like them, but they're a lot dinkier. But man, this game was not as fun to play on a moment-to-moment basis. Lufia 1 was not as fun to play.
No, it was not.
But I still liked Lufia 1, and I'm glad we played it.
Me too. I definitely recommend people play these games in release order. I had before said just skip and play Lufia 2 because it's the good one, but Lufia 1 has enough good in it that you should play it before Lufia 2, because once you play Lufia 2, you don't want to play Lufia 1. Chronological order is not the way. But
if you're a certain type of person, you should definitely play Lufia 1. If you like old kind of janky JRPGs, then you should definitely play Lufia 1, because it is like the best of those.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing next week, Sam?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so as you can probably tell, we think we have 2 episodes left is 1 episode. So our timing for the poll would have been, I think the poll opened on Wednesday and we're recording this on Saturday, that would not have been long enough voting time. We have gotten a lot of votes in already, so that is pretty cool. But
And also, there's a clear winner. Well, we won't say which, but
yeah,
we can tell what's going to win.
Yeah, but for consistency's sake, we wanted to have a 2-episode buffer for people to get in and vote. And so next week, we will be doing a bonus episode covering episode 0 of the Devil, the visual novel Ace Attorney-like that Trish was gushing about last week. So we will play that next week. Episode 0 is free. All of you should play it with us. And we will announce the winner of the poll then. But other than that, that will do it for the week. If you like what you heard today, head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to help support us. If you do, you'll get some extra benefits. At $1 a month, the Gadabout tier gets access to our bonus feed, where we have after shows for every episode, as well as bonus seasons of the show that are backer only, and it allows you to vote on our polls, such as the one for what game we're playing next. And if you up your donation amount to $5 a month, the Warrior tier gets the above, but I also read their names at the end of every episode, a little like this. Shoutouts to Frosthair, Dragonslayer19, Kaledranas, Freddy Rodriguez, Aaron524, and JFro Prime. And then at $20 a month, the Luminary tier gets all of the above, plus a one-sentence shout-out to whatever it is they're passionate about. Shout-outs to El Tantavi, who wants you to check out Aftermath.site, a worker-owned, reader-supported news site covering video games, the internet, and the cultures that surround them. Shout-outs to Vimke, who says, "The first bell sounded again. Blang. Blah blang. Blah blang." Gideon cocked her head to listen, finding her hands had stilled on her sword. And then shoutouts to It's Claire Time, who says, "For you TTRPG nerds, check out Fabula Ultima. I'm not affiliated with the game, I just think it's neat." For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam.
I'm Bernard, who thinks that we did not actually mention that the current poll is between Drakengard and Panzer Dragoon Saga. We just mentioned that there is a poll, but we didn't say go vote between Drakengard and Panzer Dragoon Saga. So go do that. I'm Bernard.
Yeah, if
I'm
you
Trish, and I say vote with your heart.
If you listen to this finale episode and not last week's where we said what the poll was about, interesting choice. But yes,
we have to remind people, and this is Lufia. Maybe they figured I'll listen to the last Lufia 2 episode first, then go back and.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.